Yo, what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Wednesday, July 26th, 2023. Hope that you guys are having a wonderful week so far. Venus is in Gatorade. Hopefully, things haven't gotten too dramatic for you yet. But yeah, the drama definitely does find us somehow, some way. So, anyways, let's go ahead and hop into the transits for today, my friends. So, of course, we do have that moon in Scorpio by itself without the south node there, which is nice. It's funny too. I thought that this energy was going to be light, and then yesterday ended up kind of striking me a little bit heavier than I thought it was going to. And it was funny too because a lot of the things weren't even necessarily concerning me personally. It was just people close to me, and I definitely got kind of emotional about things. I damn near gave myself a headache last night thinking about one situation. But I was just like, I had to calm down. I had to think over it and stuff. I had to relax. I had to reset, recalibrate, and just move forward. So, but yeah, things can definitely start to get a little more dramatic with Venus having retrograde. Of course, Black Moon Lilith is also retrograded too. It's pretty interesting. Venus and Mercury are about to switch places. So we do have that moon in Scorpio. Like I said, it still doesn't like to be in Scorpio, but at least the South Node is, not there anymore. But we are going to see this. Well, actually, interesting. It starts off the day with a sextile over to Mars. Now, by the time that you guys watch this sextile would have been already occurred. But, this is kind of a nice energy to start the day. If you happen to have been up at 7:31 Eastern Standard Time in the morning, this is definitely a moment where it's like, we can start to feel a little bit more fired up. Like the moon doesn't necessarily like to be a Scorpio. There's definitely this level of commitment, a deeper sense of commitment. Because it's funny too, because a lot of people are like, well, Libra is like relationships and stuff. Leo is love. Scorpio is commitment. You know what I mean? Like Scorpio is like Libra is like after it's like when you get married. You know what I mean? It's like when the judge actually marries. Not, but yeah, it's like when the priest or the judge, whatever like that, actually marries you, and then you get into Scorpio land where it's like deep intimacy, those sort of things, commitment, you know what I mean, investment, energetic investment. So with this moon sextiling Mars, this is definitely going to be asking us, where are our emotional investments? And of course, Mars and Virgo is looking for very particular critical action that's really going to help us build something. It is building up to the trine with Jupiter, so we have a building energy as far as that goes, which is nice. We'll see that soon, probably sometime next week. We'll see that. But this sextile right here, it definitely gives us a little bit of a boost, even though the moon's not necessarily in a place where it's super strong. Like I said, at least the south node is not there anymore. So there's definitely this element where it's like, we definitely feel like we want to move things forward. We're still kind of looking for a little bit of edge with the Scorpio energy because the south node just came out of there, of course. There is wanting to we're definitely wanting to feel things a little bit deeper and want to make sure that our actions and what we're committing to definitely has a deeper sense of purpose, if you will, that it's not really surface level, that's not really shallow, and that we can actually really put one step in front of the other. Let me actually slow down and enunciate my words. I notice that sometimes I have a tendency to talk really, really fast and then my words will run together. So I apologize for that, guys. Hopefully you guys can actually understand what I'm saying, right? Hopefully you guys can understand the words that are coming out from my mouth. But yeah, so nice little boost at least to the start of the day. But like I said, by the time that you guys watch this energy would have already passed. So the main thing today, of course, is that we're going to have that moon is going to oppose Jupiter, which moves to 13 degrees today, which is pretty critical. And we're going to have that moon oppose it. This is an interesting energy, especially considering the fact that the moon would much rather be where Jupiter is in Taurus. So it kind of so there's going to be this element where maybe we're almost feeling the moon's almost a little jealous of Jupiter in a way, because especially with it being at 1 and 3, which nets to a 4, and 4 is Uranus energy. Uranus is also dealing with the 4. 2 plus 2 is 4, right? So there's definitely going to be this sort of like thing that comes up as far as a belonging. I feel like today, where do we belong? What do we belong manifesting? What groups do we belong to? Do we feel like we belong in this job? Do we feel like we belong in this relationship? Do we feel like we belong with this particular commitment? Are we vibing here? I mean, like if you look at the glyph of Aquarius, it's like 2 sine waves on top of each other. So is this where our vibration is? Do we vibe here? So this is going to be a very interesting opposition here. I don't think it's going to be the worst opposition in the world. It's just definitely, but it will be emotionally challenging, mainly because we're maybe looking for some sort of edge, and maybe we are fooling ourselves into thinking that we may belong to certain situations or certain groups because it seems deeper, it seems more intense, it seems edgy. Meanwhile, Jupiter here is just chilling on the farm and finding excitement on the farm, and that sort of reality. There's definitely going to be this thing where we have to learn how to find the excitement in the seemingly boring, the seemingly mundane. I'm not saying that Taurus is innately, I'm not saying that Taurus people, like if you are a Taurus, I'm not saying that you guys are innately boring or mundane, but it is a little bit more, the energy is a little more simple. It does remind me of a farm, but a lot of things can happen on the farm. A lot of things can happen on the farm, right? But there's definitely going to be this element where it's like, especially with Venus now retrograde, it's moving further. Like Mars is definitely getting further away from it. The Sun is here in Leo. Mercury is here in Leo. Black Moon Lilith's about to retrograde back into Leo. There's definitely this element where we are looking for some excitement, and we're looking for some edge, and we're looking for something to kind of invigorate us, if you will. This opposition right here, this Moon and Jupiter opposition, definitely pay attention. Like I said, this is going to be 1:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You may start to question whether you belong in certain situations, to certain groups of people, and certain relationships. And they don't have to, relationships don't have to be emotional. They don't have to be romantic. It can be platonic, it can be friends, it can be family. These are the sort of things that are going to come up, especially with Jupiter being in the sign of value, if you will. We have to ask ourselves, are these situations, are they rooted in something that's sustainable? Are they rooted in something that has a solid foundation, right? And it's that's really what it comes down to. Are these things rooted in something that has a solid foundation, or is the foundation a little cracked? Is the foundation, is it sliding away? Have there been earthquakes that have caused the foundation to kind of slide away and it's like split down the middle? You know what I mean? This is like, it's true. Freaking watching all those like home renovation shows, whatever like that. And foundation issues are always the most expensive to take care of. But they're absolutely necessary, because if you don't take care of them, then it really messes up the entire operation. So you have to fix those foundation issues, and they can be very expensive. They oftentimes are the most expensive. And I think that's why sometimes we tend to put those things off, because sometimes we have this feeling like, all right, well, let's just blow up the whole thing and start from scratch. But you don't have to blow up the whole thing and start from scratch if you don't want to. You can fix the foundation. That's going to require some time, some effort, some money, whether it's actual money or just simply investing your energy into it, currency-wise, like that, your energetic currency, emotional currency. Things may take some time if you find that the foundation is cracked, but you can fix it. You know what I mean? So you don't always have to start from scratch. I think that sometimes, like, we like to think that when the foundation of something is messed up, that we have to start from scratch. And we don't have to start from scratch all the time, right? So we're asking ourselves, well, how do we feel about how we are expanding upon our value? How do we feel about how we are expanding upon these areas? And Uranus, like I said, is shaking things up too. So everyone's values are going to shift in many ways. And I think that's what it's coming down to. I think you're seeing a lot of people where their moral foundations are shifting, and they don't really know what to do about it or how to feel about it. And they're fighting against the change. They're fighting against the transformation, the evolution of these morals, these foundations and stuff like that. It's not the same as they were 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's not the same. And they really shouldn't be the same, because you should grow and you should evolve. So naturally, the foundation will shift a little bit. But if you just keep stacking things on top of a foundation that's already collapsing, and you don't actually address the issue, it becomes more and 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 more expensive the longer you wait. The moon won't quite get to Uranus today. It won't quite get to Uranus, So by the end of the day, it's going to be around, 17, 18 degrees or so. So it won't quite get to Uranus. It won't even quite get to Chiron. It'll quincunx Chiron. You do have Mercury, which is now at 27 degrees. So it's going to be making the quincunx over to Neptune and joining in with this yacht that Venus has been in for the last several days with Pluto and Neptune. So, yeah, it joins in the yacht, which means that we're going to start to get a little bit more clarity. We're going to start to get these communications, these little light bulbs, these epiphanies are going to start to come off, Wednesday night, going into Thursday, and then continuing into Friday. We're going to start to actually get some of these epiphanies, whatever like that. Now, it's interesting, too, of course, that by this time, Black Moon Lilith does come back, retrograde back into Leo, So we're going to be facing some fears, but these fears, I'm telling you, they're not as big as we think they are. I think that's what it comes down to. I think sometimes we are afraid to fix the foundations in our life, and then there are times where we are afraid to really move forward and do something bold, do something different, and actually put ourselves out there, be really creative. And there's can be a fear of acceptance there, I feel. There can be a fear of, wondering if you actually are going to succeed, And I think this comes down to realizing that, you probably will fail and mess up and fall down, but you get back up, you keep it moving despite your wounds. You know what I'm saying? You don't let your wounds fester. That's the thing about Chiron energy and the victim culture that we're kind of seeing sprout right now. And we're going to see it even more over the next 18 months because we have the North Node and Chiron here, is that some people have allowed their wounds to fester and to become much more infected. Instead of actually treating the wound, they've allowed it to grow and fester and just take on a life of its own, to where that's all they have to talk about now. That's all they can talk about. It's like they become one. They have identified with the pain. They have identified with the trauma. They have identified with that. Yeah, that's all that they can put out, right? So I think it's interesting. Of course, you do have Black Moon Lilith, which is going to be trining this North Node. Like I said, this is kind of Thursday, but it's going into the next day. But it's going to be trining it. And it's also going to be joining up with this Yod too. So we have two energies joining up with the Yod. We have Mercury, and then we have Black Moon Lilith, all joining up with the Yod, squeezing Venus right here in the middle, which is just trying to feel good. It's just trying to I don't feel the prettiest right now. I don't feel the best right now. I'm trying to have my hot girl summer, and I just feel like I'm getting squeezed from both angles. I left my sunscreen at home, so now I got to go buy this really expensive sunscreen because I need the sunscreen. It's like Venus got to the beach, and then now she's like, crap, I don't really like my swimsuit anymore. I thought it looked hot before I left home, and now that before I drove all the way here to the beach, now that I'm here, I don't really want to wear it. And maybe it's like this Venus is getting squeezed and sandwiched right now, So there's a tendency maybe even to overthink things right now, with Mercury here, and then black Lilith on this side. We overthink things, but the sun is still here, radiating that positivity and that love and that creativity to just be yourself, regardless of the situations, regardless of the fact that you may feel sandwiched right now and kind of squeezed right now. But think of this as like a nice pressure. Pressure makes diamonds, and now the sun is here illuminating this spot as well. So that's why it kind of feels a bit like I said, I kind of feel a bit pressurized right now. Like we're like in a pressure cooker. Like the heat, like things are kind of heating up, steaming up, whatever like that. It's interesting, especially with all these planets retrograde, all these energies retrograde. Remember, Mercury's going to come retrograde in Virgo too. So we have that looming energy coming. So yeah, things can kind of feel like they're kind of like closing in a little bit. And we're trying to figure out, when are we going to pop and break through? It's coming. It's coming. So don't worry. It won't last long. But remember, pressure makes diamonds. Pressure makes stars. So yeah, pressure makes stars. That's the thing you got to think about it. Pressure and gravity and all that energy coming together, and the primordial cosmic dust that comes together and like forms and under a lot of pressure and heat and stuff. That's what makes a star. So that's the thing. If you are a star seed, or if you're striving for something, if you're striving to be a star in your particular field, and if you are experiencing the pressure, keep going. I know it may feel off, it may feel weird, because it's like no one said it was going to be easy and stuff, or maybe people were told it was going to be easy. Maybe just because you participated, you thought you was going to get a trophy. I mean, I'm a millennial, so I'm a part of the participation trophy generation, right? So, I think it's like maybe there's an element of you that feels like you were ill prepared for this moment, and I think most people are, because we have been so we've been taught and driven and fooled away from our true essence and just how powerful we really are. We've been lied to. These lies and these things are going to start to come out more over the next 5 to 10 years. You'll see it over the next decade or so, especially leading up to like 2030, 2035 is supposed to be really important, right? But we'll definitely start to see it, And here's the thing: even though you have been lied to by society at large, media, experts, large pundits, and it's not all of them, but even though you've been lied to by a lot of these things and been fooled and been dragged into the dark, you can still shine brightly, because that's the thing about light. That's the thing about like you can be in a pitch black room that is like a mile and like a mile wide. Like you could be like it'll be kind of crazy, like a room that big, but imagine yourself like in a pitch black room that's like a square mile, and there's like nothing there either, but all you had was a lighter. You could find yourself to the door. Eventually you find yourself to the door, but you can find yourself to the door. And I think what happens is that we may create ghouls in our mind because maybe we feel like we're wandering through the dark for so long. And then we're like, well, surely there's got to be a monster in here. So and then we like kind of create these ghouls, these monsters, these boogeymen. But that's the thing. Oftentimes what I find is that when we're wandering around in the dark, and we have like this little lighter, we have like this little candle, or we have like the lantern, like the hermit, we can find our way to the exit. And a lot of times the ghouls and stuff like that, a lot of times they're self-created. They're like just in our mind. They're in our mind, Yeah. Let's go ahead and get to the cards for today. Let's see what we got going on. My cat is patiently waiting for me to give him treats. Patiently waiting. He's oh boy. All right, let's see what we got going on today. I am going to start filming here shortly the August, tarot reports for the 12 signs. And I'm thinking with this one, I'm probably going to focus more. I'm going to probably draw cards for you, like the major transits. So, like the Mercury retrograde, the Venus retrograde, and stuff like that. So, but, anyways, let's get going. What do we have card wise for today? So, generally, whenever I get all the cards are reversed, then you can read it a certain way. You can read it both ways. So I have the Five of Wands in reverse. Then I also have the King of Pentacles in reverse. Then I also got the Five of Swords in reverse. You know what I mean? Followed by the Seven of Cups in reverse. So, like, because these cards are all reversed, you can read them either way. That's generally my rule of thumb, is that if I see them one way, you can read them the other. It's just maybe sort of like just representing like the duality of the day, if you will. Five of Wands in reverse. Yeah, petty arguments. You know what I mean? I think this could be like self-created petty arguments, self-created delusions, if you will. King of Pentacles knows his worth and knows his value. The King of Pentacles is like, how much does it cost to fix the foundation? Okay, fix it. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't even ask necessarily. It's sort of like he doesn't even necessarily ask what the price is. He's like, the foundation's messed up. All right, fix it. Because the King of Pentacles knows that you need to have. He won't even ask what the price is. Now, what's interesting is that we have the Five of Swords here as well. So there's definitely this energy where it's like, it's interesting with this card. Look at him. So normally it shows more than one person, but it just shows one. It shows two people. The other one's kind of backing away. But what's interesting about the dude's stance is that he doesn't really seem, his head's not down. He's looking forward. So he lost the battle, and the other dude took the swords away from him. And he's looking super, super confident. But you know what this energy is giving me? This energy is giving me is like, you know what? Maybe the main character got defeated, right? And now the opponent, the antagonist is like super overly confident and starting to monologue. You know what I mean? But it's like he's about to go and actually go train so he can take those swords back and beat him down. So I think there's this element where it's like we may feel defeated by our situations. We may feel defeated, and we may even feel like our opponent, whether maybe it is a person or just a situation, or maybe even our own mind, maybe even our own self, maybe even our own shadow self, is starting to kind of talk and monologue about their victory and how they beat our ass, right? Well, you can turn this all upside down. You can turn this all on its own head, right? We have the Seven of Cups here too, right? Like I said, it was reversed. So for me, what this is saying is that we have to make a decision. I feel like if there's any card that should remain reverse here, it's this card. Even though they all were reversed and I can read them upright. Seven of Cups, normally it's about you have all these different options. It being reversed means that you are being way too indecisive and it's time to make a decision. So I think we need to simply just make the decision to move forward. That even if we may feel defeated or dejected, and what's interesting is that because it's the Five of Wands, it lets me know that whatever it is a little bit on the lighter side. For some people, it definitely can be on the heavier side too. I don't want to make just like blanket statements, but it's definitely just like, some sort of misunderstanding for sure. It's interesting how two of them are, it's funny. It's interesting how two of them, right, have two of the wand, and then there's only one person, which is presumably you, because it's kind of coming. If you're looking at this card, it kind of looks like it's coming from like a first-person perspective, and that's coming from like a first-person perspective, and then they're going at them, but they're really focused on each other, and then you're just there. It's almost like it's almost like you're wanting to be a part of the drama, if you will, just because you feel like you need to be for some reason. But just ask yourself, like, do I really need to be a part of this like battle? Do I really need to be a part of this particular drama? Or am I just like instigating, if you will? Am I just really instigating it? Am I just kind of lighting? Am I just adding fuel to the fire? You know what I mean? I think this Five of Wands in reverse is saying, don't add fuel to the fire. King of Disc is saying, work on the foundation, fix the foundation, regardless, And then the Five of Swords is like, you know what? You live to fight another day. He's not dead. He doesn't have swords in his back. They were just taken from him. So you live to fight another day. This is about making the decision to be like, even if you lose, even if you fall down, even if you feel rejected or dejected, that you live to fight another day and you can move forward and become stronger. See what the animal is for today. Let's see what we got. Ooh, we have the wolf. We have the wolf. Listen to your inner wisdom and enjoy the gift of freedom. Yep, that's a really good one. You know what's interesting too about freedom is that freedom is not free, and freedom is a very, very, very one of the highest vibrations. So with something like that, it does come with responsibility, and you have to listen to your inner wisdom, because if you don't listen to your inner wisdom, then you lose your freedom. And unfortunately, a lot of people over the last 3 years rejected their inner wisdom in exchange for comfort, in exchange for a false sense of security, in exchange for acceptance. But unfortunately, they rejected that inner wisdom, and now they're starting to see their freedoms like slowly slip away, or they're unintentionally giving away their freedoms, like unconsciously giving them away, not realizing what they're doing. And I think that's what this comes down to. Is like, how are we potentially fueling the fire of this fight? How are we potentially fueling the fire of this miasmic energy that has come up, where we're just going to ignore the foundational issues of things and just continue to fight over, honestly, truthfully petty shit, like elementary stuff. Like, humans continue to fight over petty things. We make them complicated and make them huge and make them gargantuan and affect thousands of millions of people, but in the grand scheme of things, it's very fucking petty shit. It's elementary type shit. Like I said, guys, we are still trying to master the Cancer energy. I haven't gotten to Leo yet. Like, we get like a little bit, we get a taste of all the other ones. That's why you have Sun and these other signs. They bring understanding and light to these areas. But as humanity as a whole, we've only mastered Aries, Taurus, and I guess Gemini. But we definitely haven't mastered Cancer yet. So, and it's interesting too. Cancer, being that's ruled by the moon, and then you have like the wolves that howl at the moon. Howl at the moon. Actually, believe it or not, the wolf is a totem animal of Capricorn. So, anyways, that's going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. And if you'd like a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, I will see you guys on the next video. Y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all next time.